Kazuma and Shadow, two isekai characters from their own respective series, with two things in common. They both died and came back to life, and they have overpowered luck abilities. This isn't a power scaling video, so feel free to take anything in this video with a grain of salt, as it's meant to be a fun parody and a fun video altogether. And with that being said, we're gonna measure who has more luck-based feats, who would win in a fight, not an actual fight, but rather a luck fight, if that makes any sense at all. I have to work on my editing. With all these stats and feats laid on the table, let's get into the video on who has stronger luck stats, Kazuma versus cidkagenou. Let's get into it.
3, 2, 1, go!
Let's start off with the number one contender, Kazuma. Now, Kazuma is from the series Konosuba and was isekai'd himself after dying from almost being hit by a tractor. One of the funniest isekai's sequences I've ever seen in my life. Go watch Konosuba. What are you still doing here? And upon being isekai'd, was brought to Aqua, the goddess of water, where he could choose one overpowered ability to bring with him upon being reincarnated into another world. And surprisingly, it's not luck. He doesn't choose luck to be his power, but rather bringing Aqua, the goddess herself, with him on this journey. Now, we don't see Kazuma's luck factor too many times throughout this isekai. In fact, it's only really highlighted a few times throughout the show. The first time we see this is when he actually gets his stats measured upon arriving with Aqua in this new world. Each member has to get their stats measured in order to first become a member of the guild society, and upon doing so, Kazuma's stats are as follows. He's relatively average in everything except for luck and intelligence. His luck stats literally have question marks on them, meaning they are abnormally high. Now, normally this would work for Kazuma if he was by himself, but because he brought Aqua with him, this doesn't work out in his favor too much throughout the show. Aqua herself has abnormal stats in every category except for luck and intelligence. And because Aqua and Kazuma are in the same party, it literally equals out. It's pretty much a 1 - 0 situation where you still wind up at 0. When Kazuma is out by himself or with the other members that he gathers later on in the show, things pretty much always work out in his favor. And this is also shown when he equips weapons throughout the show, as he later picks up an archer bow and utilizes his luck factor to always hit critical shots to pretty much one-shot any minor or major enemy. Later on in the show though, we do see Kazuma's luck start to actually pay off, as he becomes rich and successful by working with one of the past supporters of the Demon Lord himself, as he is given a mansion after completing a mission and clearing out the ghosts from inside. This is such a major feat due to the fact that up until this point, Kazuma was forced to live in a barn with Aqua due to the fact that they had to start off from scratch with no money, no experience, and at the bottom of the guild. Outside of that, we really don't see Kazuma's luck factor too much throughout the show. Considering he is supposed to have such abnormal luck, he's forced to carry these sandbag of members around that not only drag him down, but make for a comedic show that is the reason that you would want to watch it to begin with. I feel bad for Kazuma, but his misery is the reason why Konosuba as a whole, along with his personality, is such a lovable show. But we're not here for a Konosuba review, self-plug, we're gonna do that later. Next, we are going to cover Shadow's luck abilities, aka cidkagenou, and his different stats and occurrences in the show. Now, compared to Kazuma, Cid has an absurd amount of luck throughout the entire show. Within the early stages of Shadow Garden, Cid's sister gets kidnapped, and they have to figure out where she is in order to locate and rescue her. The other members of Shadow Garden can't quite find her, and Cid literally has no idea where she is. But he pretends to do so by looking at the map on the table, creating a slime knife and throwing it at the map, trying to look cool as a character. Upon doing so, Cid misses by accident the spot that he was trying to hit, and in doing so manages to land on a spot exactly on the map where Cid's sister is actually kidnapped. The second time, upon finding Cid's sister in the hideout that he accidentally marked, mind you, he also just so happens to run into the head of the villain operations group at the time. Cid is literally just looking for an entrance in the catacombs of the hideout, where the villain just happens to stumble upon him by accident, in which Cid takes care of him with ease, but plot absolutely did not mean to run into this guy. Sid at some point seems to be self-aware of this ability and states that he feels a main character event coming along and that the plot will soon move forward in his favor to move the story along. I think it's hilarious on the part of the writers to be fully aware of the fact that Sid literally has no idea what he's doing and is literally just getting lucky enough for events to happen and progress his journey forward. This kind of reminds me of the Overlord take. Maybe I should throw Ainz in there too. Nah, I don't know. I might have to vote on that. I might have to throw Ainz in there too, but I haven't watched Overlord to that degree in a while. That would take a very long time to make. Fuck Ainz. All jokes aside, round 1 absolutely goes to cidkagenou. He blows Kazuma out the water when it comes to luck feats and the various stuff that he has performed throughout the anime. But that doesn't mean that Kazuma is out the race yet, as round 2 goes to the actual luck battle itself. Now, just because we don't see Kazuma's actual feats doesn't mean that his stats aren't still abnormally high. Now, are his stats high enough to combat somebody whose literal luck allows him to progress the story? Well, that all comes down to a game that is purely based on luck itself. If both Kazuma and Sid were to sit down at a table and be forced to pick lottery numbers, then it comes down to pure luck. And in the official sense of the word, Sid doesn't actually have any luck feats that determine whether or not he can boost his chances of winning said lottery, while Kazuma does. If Kazuma goes by himself and Sid shows up as well to this casino in which they would play the lottery, then the chances of Kazuma actually beating Sid are pretty significant, since Kazuma's luck stat alone would allow him to do so. But who's to say in order to progress the plot in Sid's favor that he doesn't have to win the lotto as well? Well, in that case, then it would be a simple tie. Sid is just so overpowered that whatever he needs to go in his favor often does in order for his plans as Shadow to concur. All in all, when you look at the two respective Isekai characters, they both have luck feats, but Sid, in a story sense, blows away Kazuma's, while Kazuma, in a literal sense, blows away Sid's. It's honestly hard to figure out who would win in a straight fight between Uno or rock, paper, scissors. I would imagine Kazuma, since he's never lost a game, again, due to his luck. But generally, Sid's luck goes in his favor when he needs things to be done as Shadow, but it doesn't specifically affect his actions themselves. I think that Kazuma would absolutely win this. However, if the plot required that Sid needed to win the numbers in order to progress forward, it generally would depend on the situation, the timing, and what's going on. The only reason why Sid would win the lotto pick is if the Cult of Diablos is behind the lotto numbers to begin with. But if we're gonna place ourselves in a neutral environment where both do not have story factors put into the environment, then Kazuma wins. However, if we add the background stories to both characters and the universe around them, then Sid would win, due to the fact that he literally pushes the plot forward in his favor, meaning Kazuma would literally have no choice but to lose due to the fact that Sid has to win because the plot demands so. As I said, this video is a skit parody. I hope you guys did not take too much of this seriously. This was something I came up with while watching The Eminenceinshadow, and I thought to myself, you know who else has a lot of luck? Ainz. If you guys would like to see an Ainz part video, which I think would be a lot more entertaining since Ainz actually does have a lot more feats and is generally more powerful enough to actually fight Sid, then comment down below. If you've made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you for entertaining the idea. This was a pretty good buffer video and actually a lot of fun to make for me. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I look forward to making some more vids with you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.